What's up, Modern Contractor TV? Teddy here. And in this episode, we are speaking with Mike Agugliaro. Mike is a powerhouse, a legend in the New Jersey home service market. Mike started out as an electrician. He eventually grew gold medal services to HVAC, plumbing, bath remodel. They grew that to north of 30 million in revenue, and he exited that business. And then he launched CEO Warrior. CEO Warrior was the number one home services coaching program in the country at the time. He grew that to over $40 million in revenue and then exited that business. So he had two successful exits within a 6-year time frame, close to $100 million in exits. We speak to Mike about everything from family to scaling home services business to wealth and how to manage that wealth after you exit your business. It's a action-packed episode. Mike's going to talk about his new coaching program, Food Dog Group, where he talks about transformation and personal growth and mindset growth. It's an amazing episode. It's one of my favorites so far, and I can't wait till you guys listen and learn from Mike Agugliaro. Let's get into it.
You're listening to Modern Contractor TV, the show for home service pros who want to build real business value, scale profits, and create a company that doesn't rely on them day to day. Hosted by entrepreneur, author, and advisor Teddy Slack, a builder of multiple 7-figure service businesses. Each episode brings you real-world strategies to help you grow, systemize, and prepare for a profitable exit. Let's get into it.
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Good. Excited to be here, Teddy.
All right, that's awesome. I'm excited to talk to you as well. You are literally a living legend in my home state of New Jersey. So I'm super excited to talk to you today about business and life and coaching in general. And I just want to, just start off by telling everybody who you are. I mean, you have an awesome reputation, awesome name, but just give a quick background of who you are and what you're doing currently right now.
Yeah, I'll keep it as short as I can. I'm a New Jersey guy, so bred and born here. Been on my own since I'm 15 years old. So I learned how to really grind it out and survive. I had a choice. You're built for college or you're not. You're built to be a tradesperson. I was built to be a tradesperson. So I became an electrician by trade. Worked for some people at a vocational school, figured out really quick. I'm not a great employee. If you're not a great employee, you know what you do? You start your own damn business. Yep. I thought all my bosses were idiots. Later, I found out I was an idiot just like them, right? I struggled in a service company, electrical contracting company for about probably a decade. All the same complaints people still have today. Can't hire, everybody breaks your shit, they steal your stuff, same complaints. Later, after about a decade, I figured out marketing, sales, operations, systems. I scaled a company called Gold Medal. It was Gold Medal Electric to Gold Medal Service. We did plumbing, heating, cooling, electric, drain cleaning, one-day bathroom solutions, indoor air quality, water filtration. Took that in under a decade to 32 million plus a year. We were tracking for 40 million. Sold that sucker in 2017 for a walkaway deal at a very high multiple. We were the cat's meow back then for what we did. Later, people got way more. I taught people how to get way more multiples, Teddy. Yeah. But back then, the multiple was huge. And very few people signed their name, walked away, never went back. In 2014, before I sold that, I was really, really frustrated. The blue-collar worker was struggling really bad. And the only thing they had out there was people in suit and ties trying to teach him shit that was 40 years old, and it wasn't helping. So I went to prove I could change an industry, which I feel I impacted. And I started a company called CEO Warrior. And in less than 5 years, I was coaching over 1,000 business owners, everything from plumbing, pest control, HVAC. I sold that company in 2020 because I felt like I completed my mission of changing an industry, and then I needed to go and change the world. And then from there, I started what we do today, Food Dog Group. We help business owners with life, business, wealth by design. And Teddy, what we found out is, as I was scaling CEO Warrior, and I was running 35 3-day events a year. I ran a lot of events, man. Wow. I taught everybody, if they needed their service experts to know how to sell, deliver high value service or marketing or leadership or anything in between, we were those people. The one thing that was missing is I was making people really wealthy and divorced. and being with my beautiful wife for over 4 decades. We're together since we're 15 years old, and I'm
That's awesome.
level 55 now. The last thing I wanted to think of was I ran into somebody that sold years ago, and I was like, man, how's everything going? Like, you make people wealthy. And he's like, great. And I'm like, how's your wife doing? He's like, F that bitch. I'm like, what? He's like, oh, I divorced her. I said, when? Oh, as soon as I sold, and I was like, I went to my wife, I said, this is horrible. This is not what I wanted. I didn't want to make people wealthy and divorced. And then other people became wealthy and unhealthy. So we decided to come out and build an organization where we could help people on the life side. We will do everything, Teddy, from help people remove trauma that they've been struggling with in relationship trauma, health trauma. Shit, people got marketing and sales trauma today. We'll help them on the business side, marketing, sales, operations. I don't care if people want to exit. That's cool. I know there's people that they specifically only work with people who want to sell. I work with some that want to sell, some that want to die with it, some that want to give it to their children. Doesn't matter to me. We just want to be a solution. And then we help people with wealth, and it's all by design, and wealth looks different for everybody. Some people, 5 million, they're done forever, man. They don't need anything. Some people, they tell you, you're in this game. Hey, how much you need to exit? 150 million. I'm like, you drive a Kia, dude. You don't need 150 fucking million. Like, what are you going to do with that money? So there's a little bit of a long story. My wife says I'm a unicorn. Like, never did drugs my whole life, never smoked my whole life, never drank alcohol my whole life. I don't eat fucking gluten. Tough for an Italian. I don't eat gluten. I don't drink caffeine. But I'm a really focused individual, and I'm a martial artist for over 40 plus years. So I'm disciplined and focused, man. So let's go anywhere you want to go with this.
No, that's awesome, man. That's an amazing story. And I mean, I would like to start with, going from when you started in the trucks. I remember seeing a picture when I was at one of your events of you in the truck, right? You were in a van and you were the guy grinding the little guy. So like, kind of give me a little bit of the story. Like, how did you figure out how to like not become the little guy doing everything, being in the truck? And how do you like, what was like a mindset shift that you had, or like what changed at that point in your life where you're like, I got to get myself out of the truck and learn business, right? Not just be an electrician.
Yeah. First off, I loved being in a truck. So everybody knows, like anybody that's a tradesperson, there's nothing else in the world besides getting in that van, having a buddy next to you. It doesn't even matter if it's an employee or what. And there's just this camaraderie that happens. I think the big question is, what's the turning point that tells you can't keep doing this? There's two for me. One, being an electrician. If I had to put in one more recess light, wire one more fucking panel, like one of my biggest words is mastery. I've been living a life of mastery for, over 40 years now. So when it comes to like craftsmanship, just mastering the art of electrical, it didn't matter if it was pulling wire, service changes, $1 million industrial plants. But it became so mundane to me, like to just do another job almost became torturous. I had fun with the guys. And the other big turning point was my son was going to be born. And there I am. My wife's in the hospital. My son's born. Anybody listening that has a first child, I go home. I put together this fucking gliding rocking chair so my wife could breastfeed and stuff. We still have the damn chair. I have no idea why. My kids won't let me get rid of the damn thing. And I remember sitting there the night, Teddy, I built it. It was like dark in the room. I finished it on test and I just break down crying. I'm like, I'm going to become just like my dad. You're going to work 7 days a week. You're going to miss a ton of shit. And I love my dad. My dad's not around. He passed a couple of years ago, and he taught me a lot about being a man and working hard, but he also missed a lot of things because he was always working. And so that the real question is, what's the turning point? The turning point is, I did not want my kids to miss these magical moments. And I know people try to say this life business balance, which is complete bullshit, because you can't even have a business without a life. It's really just life. That's all it is. And I learned along the way, Teddy, well, if I could just do this, what if I could do it together? What if I could have my kids come visit me on the job? And now my son's my son's 26, my daughter's 23. My son's 26. He's coached 3 people to become decamillionaires. He's a marketing expert, a sales expert, a scaling expert, a martial arts expert. And I stopped trying to isolate my kids from that type of stuff. And so that's really the turning point. And everybody listening to this, I don't care if you're doing 100,000, 500,000, a fucking million. I'm not impressed. I know there's a lot of people out there. Teddy, you see them, they're like, oh, I do 100, 250 million. I know more people doing hundreds of million that cry themselves to sleep, that are lonely as hell, and their wife hates them. You know, so I tell everybody that's listening, let's identify what your turning point is. Is it you're burnt out? Is it you're missing your kids? Because I promise everybody, and you know this, Teddy, you help a lot of people. There is a formula, man. There's a formula. Yep. And it feels like rocket science if your brain doesn't know how to function that way. But if you have what we say, and a lot of people say it's about mindset, it's not. I wrote a book, Mind Power. It's not about mindset. Everybody right now, if you're listening to this, and I hope you are, take a pen and paper and write this down. Mind growth. That's what it's about. And you can't take on new skill sets with the same level of thinking you have. Read all the books, go on all the podcasts you want, listen to everything, attend every program. You don't shift your thinking, nothing shifts.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. I mean, it is I read that in one of your articles about mind growth, and it's about expanding your mind and changing your thinking for sure, because that's what happened to me. I mean, I was stuck in the truck. I was stuck in operating excavators and, basically digging the ditches. I mean, I thought same thing, learn from my father, very old school, basically, you be the first one there, you be the last one at home,
right.
Work your ass off, like super old school. He gave me a yellow pad and pencil to start the business. Essentially, when I worked for the family business, he's like, here, start this division, and he was grit and hustle and grind. That's what he taught me. And, that's what I knew. I didn't know any better, but you can only get so far with that mindset, that you need to think differently, think outside the box, and learn from other people, right? You have to learn from someone who's been there, and that's what I needed to do. I needed to read, like you said, listen to podcasts and put yourself out there. Right.
Yeah. I was thinking about that. I was going to do a live Facebook video. I didn't do it yet, but I was going to say, like, how do you save a decade in 8 hours? Because I just did an on-site the other day for a company in New Jersey. And I was just thinking, like, you could attend all these things, and we run a lot of events. So I'm not poo-pooing events, man. I run a bunch of them still, leadership and all kinds of stuff. And you can listen to all this stuff, but there's no substitute for somebody looking at you, asking you questions, and giving you a plan. Because what happened, and Teddy, I'm sure you experienced, everybody started to do the same thing. It's almost like actually a white van today is actually probably the most powerful van. But 20 years ago, a white van was the most dangerous van because everybody had them. Today, everybody's got a, and I hope it's okay to curse, beep it out. Right? Everybody's got a fucking rubber duck on their truck and shit. And it's got a short life to it, right? It's fancy for a moment, but it's not fancy for a decade. And I know you'll ask me some questions, but like if you build it with the end in mind,
yes,
which sounds like everybody should know it, but how do you even know that? How do you even know what kind of end in mind could be if you don't even talk to someone who's ever been to the end in mind?
Yep,
you don't even fucking know,
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, just getting yourself out of the day to day, like even if you're not selling your company as a business owner, most business owners are just grinding day in and day out, and they're inside the business and they're just doing too many things inside the business. When I got myself out of the day to day, and I was a small company, we weren't, doing tens of millions of dollars, but I was able to get myself out of the day to day to try to build the value of the business. And it was life changing for me. I actually fell back in love with my business again. I'm like, well, maybe I don't want to sell this thing. You know what I mean? Like this is actually enjoyable again, Is that something that you obviously help with your clients, right? Getting them out of the day to day. Is that like one of the first things you help them kind of, coach them through?
Yeah. I was just telling the person we did the onsite for the other day. I'm like, let me tell you what happens. Everybody wants to change their business, scale it. They all want to sell it until they improve it. And then they come to me and they go, I don't want to sell it. And I'm like, what's changed? Well, now I love it. I fix it.
Yes.
I feel there's some, you know what, Teddy, there's so many experts and gurus out there. There's like one bracket that's like, you just got to get out of a truck tomorrow, man. You just got to run the business. And I'm like, most dangerous thing to tell a human, because they get out of a truck, they don't know what to do. Yeah. And they're like, well, okay, I'm out of a truck. What do I do? And I'm like, well, you don't even know what to do yet. And I'd like everybody to write down the word transition. It's a transition. I mean, I had to transition. I went from 7 days a week to 6 days a week to 5 days a week to 4. And when you transition, and you don't have to do it in a month. Just say over the next year, I want to transition. And as the way to transition, like the way to transition out is to transition your wisdom up. Okay. If you transition your wisdom, your knowledge, right? And you learn how to start implementing, you'll transition out of the function you're doing and you'll transition into a new transition. And the slower you do it, it's just like someone going like this. You hear these people over decades. I heard it. You just need to raise your prices. Yeah. Quickest way to get on Channel 7 News, man. Like, so it's so dangerous because I think people have good intentions. And the thing I've been ranting on, I don't know if you've been following like the last 6 months, is like trying to implement $100 million strategies in a $1 million company.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's a sure way to kill your company.
100%.
Like,
I agree.
Fancy software.
Yep.
You could do $1 million today with a damn Excel spreadsheet and probably a station wagon if you could even buy a station wagon. Like, you don't need fancy trucks and fancy software to make money. You just need an understanding, and then you build into the fancier shit when the time's right,
Yeah, absolutely. And do you work with clients that are at all different levels, like guys that are just starting out to maybe $1 million in top line, or they're doing a certain level? Like what are you typically seeing with your clients?
Yeah, when I joined an organization, probably almost 20 years ago, and you had to be $1 million or more. And when I wasn't there, they were like, shoe fly. And I was like, mother effer. Like,
Yep.
How do I get, you want me once I'm big? Okay. Yep. Now you could take money and help me. Well, how do I get from small to big? We have people in our world that literally, Teddy, I send them, I mail free books, man. I mail free books every damn day of the week. If anybody's on here, you're struggling and you know the phrase, like you don't have a pot to piss in, find me on Facebook, ask me for a free book. I'll cover the postage. I'll ship it to you. You know why? Because I remember what it's like to be struggled. So we have one bracket, like I'm doing at 7:00 tonight, which will be past when people probably see this, but at 7:00 tonight, I'm doing 90-minute masterclass for free just to help people. So we have that bracket. We then have the bracket trying to break $1 million and they just can't do it. Because look, even when you start hitting $1 million, you're a little better car, a little better house. But Disney's still a stretch to go there too many times, another 10 grand vacation. So we help them. And then we have that 1 to 10 million bracket. And then we got about 10 to 50. When someone starts hitting 30 million, everybody thinks they're kind of too cool for school type thing. Yep. I'm probably one of the rare people. I mean, my two companies did over 5 million combined, and I had 2 exits in less than a 6-year period. And those exits combined were a little under 100 million. And, I still don't think I'm too cool for school. I show up to master classes. I pay to go to trainings, and I could learn something from the person that's pushing the carts in the parking lot. So we work with all of them, but I do think there's some fundamental things that if people could apply, I'll give you an example. I see Teddy adults all the time sending their kids to college in hopes that their kid graduate. Now, I'm not one of these poo-poo college things, because I do think some people need college, and I think it's a fit for some of them, and for some people it's not. But the parents will kill themselves to send their kids to college. The parents never put themselves through education and training to make college easy. So I do think some of these people, if they're under $1 million, the fastest way to change is get yourself to a leadership training that's not teaching you leadership, that's reprogramming in your mind. Because if you were ever bullied, I just figured this out, Teddy. I don't know if you heard me talk about it last year. I ran a little event. We do a lot of exclusive, like 30, 50 people. We don't do 500 people events. I love them, but people get lost in the crowd. They go back. They don't do shit with it. And this guy, I said, well, what are you doing in marketing? And he gets a nervous twitch. I'm like, dude, why are you so nervous? He's like, oh man, I spent so much on marketing and I didn't get anything. And of course, because what'd he do? He saw his competitor that's 100 times his size on a billboard. He's like, I'll do a billboard. I'm like,
oh man,
dude, you're under $1 million. You're putting a billboard on a turnpike, who even told you to do this? But guess what? I solved it. This dude's got marketing trauma now. He's afraid to spend $1 on it.
Wow.
So everybody listening, you have to ask yourself, what trauma do you have? It could be You have trauma from your parents because they suffered and you're afraid to suffer. You hear it all the time. I hear people, the first thing they tell me, yeah, I own my truck, I'm debt free. And I'm like, okay, you have debt trauma. I'm not telling you to take on debt, but just the fact you're afraid of it tells me you're going to have resistance. And then they go, well, what if I hire someone and I run out of work? Okay, so you have trauma there. You ran out of work one day. So I found out if we could untangle the mind, and very few people can do this, if you could untangle the mind, put a new program in, remove those traumas, then give skill sets. That was my secret sauce at CEO Warrior. We would put a lot of people in events there. And when you're coaching 1,000 business owners, so many have exited now, they all say, how'd it happen? Well, the PE firms were coming for Warrior clients because guess what? They were easy to buy, easy to package together, and easy to sell because I programmed their mind how to think, and that's the hard part.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, you said 100 million in exits. I mean, so what keeps you going? I mean, that's a lot of money. I mean, for most people, that's like, they think that, like you said, some people 5 million and they're done. I mean, 100 million. I mean, you're up there. I mean, what keeps you going? Why not retire? Right? I mean, let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, they said that to me when I sold gold medal and I was coaching a bunch of clients. I said, I had a big exit. I mean, it was tracking 40 million. It was a great exit. I mean, you never have to do anything again. Yeah. And they said, he'll leave. And I said, no, I'm not leaving. I said, I'm going to change an industry. And this will get to a point that I hope everybody listens to. And then when I built CEO Warrior, I mean, I built a monster of a machine. We did events like nobody else has it. There's still nobody today doing breakthroughs like we did back then. But it was missing components of it. And I believe if everybody wants to write something down, you're never selling a company. You're selling yourself into a bigger future. That's what you're doing. And I believe I found my soul's purpose is just to remove suffering from people. And it took me, I will share a lot of people, if they'll just listen to this part a minute, I'll save a lot of you that are listening to this, a lot of pain and suffering. When you go to sell a company, two things happen to people. One, you either have a bigger purpose that you already are excited about, or you're probably going to have a future depression. You will lose your identity. Yep. And people that sell companies, the PE firms don't care, man. They'll sell you. They don't care if you get depression, anxiety, lose your identity. They don't give a shit. They did the deal. Yep. But I've watched more business owners go into depression. And I was talking about this years ago saying, you need to know what's next. And people go, oh, I'm going to fish and golf. But, over time, that all falls apart because I believe humans are built to do something on planet Earth. And I made my life pretty complex. You sell a company, now you got to control your ego. Well, shit, once you're doing 30 plus million in a company and you're bringing home $1 million plus a year, your ego can get big quick. Yep. But I've always kept my ego as in check as possible. But, at one time I'm buying all these homes, Teddy. Like I'm buying them like fucking bubble gum, man. It's like literally someone's like, I got a home. It's 175, 15% return. I'm like, sign, I own another one. I'm like, wow. Before you know it, I got 6 homes all over and they make them sound like they're amazing. And then the roof is bad on one. And they're like, oh, no. The company, the management company deals with all that. Oh, bullshit.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Bullshit. Yeah. So it took me 2 years to unwind the mess I made. I got different financial advisors. Everyone's trying to grab your money.
Of course.
Yeah. And then I'm sitting there. I got all these homes. I got multiple commercial buildings. I got advisors. I can't find millions of dollars. And people listening, they're like, oh, Mike, they're flipping me the middle finger on this. I'm like, oh, big problems, money guy. No, listen, I understand the struggles of everybody. In the last 2 years, I've unwound everything. I got rid of all the real estate. I got rid of all of it. I just got rid of it. I got one commercial building left. I don't even fucking want it no more. Yep. Me and my wife have 2 vehicles right now. I just sold the big truck that I had. We have 2 vehicles. They're both compact little RVs we have. And we have one house and me and my wife, we wake up in the morning, we go for a walk, we eat breakfast together.
Nice.
We eat lunch together. We eat dinner together. We do a walking meditation every night. We travel when we want. We live what we call a vacation life. So the answer to your question is, why do more? Because somebody's got to keep helping people. And it's easy to quit. I know a lot of friends of mine, they say, oh, I'm out there. I love the people, but they don't love the people. They love the dollars. And I just know there's going to be a day life's going to end for me. I'm hoping they'll put me in a robot or something, a cyborg. My wife's not into that as much, but I'm all in on that shit. Take my consciousness. I want like Iron Man mixed with Hulk outfit. And I just know when that day comes, you're not going to give a shit about anything but experiences, man. And you're going to think about your kids. You're going to think about whose life you help change, who you impact. I mean, shit, I mailed a book 2 or 3 years ago to a woman that was homeless.
Wow.
She's like, mail the book here. She read the book. Within 30 days, she was no longer homeless. And then she was in a women's shelter. And then she's like, can you send me books? I sent books. She took the Mind Power book, was reading it in the battered women's shelter and helping people get out of that. And you know what? What's better?
Yeah.
I mean, what do we do? All the money in the world
Yeah.
just doesn't. That's so rewarding. And that's why I do it. And I proved it over and over. They said, oh, he'll stop when he does this.
Yeah.
When he sells CEO Warrior, that's a big exit. He'll stop. I didn't stop. I'm not even, just like you, I'm not even fucking warmed up yet, man.
Yep.
I'm not even warmed up. I'm just getting started,
Yeah, I feel the same way. And it's crazy because when I was going into it, obviously, I never sold a company before, and going into it, I thought, oh, this is going to be it. I'm going to make this money. I'm going to invest it, and I'm going to live off my investments, and I'm just going to kind of do whatever I want. But it's, before you experience that, maybe you could touch on this with some of your clients, like, and you've dealt with so many clients that exited, like, when they're going into it, they think it's like the end, right? It's like, oh, this is big prize. Then when they get it, it's like, that's it, it's over. But then like you start thinking like, all right, well, what's next? Like, what do I do? Like, and if you like you said, if you don't have that already pre-planned, you could absolutely go through some depression. I mean, I went through it. I was like shocked. I'm like, what is going on? This is the most money I've ever had in my life. I don't have any real responsibilities. Like, why do I feel this way? And I had to work through that. And that was, different, to experience that for sure.
Yeah. And due diligence, due diligence, if anybody's listening, you don't know what that is. Like, you're going to sell a company, and I just want you to imagine that they're going to go down your throat and up your butt, and they're going to grind you through a meat grinder. And then they're going to do it over and over for about 90 days or more, so it is a tough thing. And the scary thing for people is that, one, they end up with this money, and then they're addicted to do the next thing. They're like, oh man, I made 5 million. I could probably do 50 million next time. So they start getting reckless. And before, where you used to order Whole Foods once a month, now you order it every week. I used to go to TGI Fridays, but fuck that. You need Steakhouse 85, baby. Yep. And you used to maybe, eat a little shrimp cocktail, but now you need the shrimp. You need the tower for $120. So you have this money. You think you're going to ride into the future, but actually you get in time. And when you have time, you actually spend way more money.
Oh, yeah.
Because you go to the store, you're fucking on Amazon too much, and people don't realize it. And then you end up at that point, you start going, hang on, even if I get 5 or 10% on this money, at the rate of speed I'm going, you can't drive, you can't go first class now. You have to see about private, and that's what people tell me. They're like, you're doing this. I'm like, man, like, you're just giving me so much credit for who you think I should be versus who I love to be.
Yep.
And so I think all of you that are thinking about exits, I just say, what are you transitioning into, not transitioning away from? And this is the biggest thing, whatever you hated about what you created and sold, you're carrying that to the next thing.
Yeah.
I watched people, they ended up building the next thing. They hated that. And I said, you know what if you just learn to love your weakest skill set until you no longer look at it as a weak skill set? If you don't like people, well, you're probably going to have a tough run at this thing. And everything is reverse engineered. And I agree with you. If you think about it, even for yourself, some of the best times in life probably are when you were trying to solve the biggest problems, because I think humans are problem solvers. Why Elon Musk, love or hate this guy, like he's solving a problem that may not even be solved in his lifetime. And everybody, like anybody that has any logical sense has to say, it's funny, I'm around a lot of, and I'm an energy guy. So they say, oh, you got to ground yourself, right? Teddy, ground yourself. I'm like, ground yourself. We're on a fucking ball floating in space. Ground to what? You're floating, man. You're floating. Yeah. And, but this guy understands, like, this planet probably has a shelf life. And if we don't go to another planet and one planet dies and we don't have somewhere else to go with. So you look at him, the guy works a trillion billion hours, but you never heard him. I never heard him say it. Did you on news? He never said, I hate solving this problem. Yep. I never hear it. And I think if everybody can look at that, like if you just go in to your company, if you're struggling with recruiting, just say to yourself, how can I solve this? And love the get addicted to solving that problem. I just like you, I hear it, man. People are like, there's not enough people to work in the trades. Last I looked on the global clock, I think we're going to be hitting 9 billion people or something. I'm like, you interviewed all 9 billion people on planet Earth. You can't find a plumber. You can't find a guy to dig a hole. And look, I'm very, there's a hero and a villain. To some, I'm the hero. To many, I'm the villain. And I'm like, look, it's never a recruiting problem. Yeah. You're a sucky leader.
It's you. Exactly. It's a you problem. It's not a recruiting problem. 100%. I feel the same way.
If you're a strong leader, I had a waiting list when I sold gold medal of people that wanted to work for me.
Yep.
Not because of the company, because I wanted them to a bunch of my employees. They own bigger houses than me, better cars than me. I mean, one day, Teddy, is hilarious. I was sitting in the parking lot. You probably know where the gold medal building is. And I'm sitting there talking to my two partners at one time, and here comes a Porsche. And I go, who the F is driving that? They said, oh, the plumber.
Oh, my God.
Next, the Jaguar comes in. And who the hell's driving? The electrician. Wow. Now, what is that real nice, like, Land Rover pulls in. Land Rover. 150,000. I said, who the F drives that? That's the CSR.
Oh my God, get out of here.
I turned around and look, and I'm driving a Subaru Outback, which, by the way, was a kick-ass car. I mean, Crocodile Dundee drove the fucking thing, right? It was a good car. And then my partner looked at his, and he had a pickup truck that's a decade old. My other partner had a pickup truck. And we looked and said, so I said, now this is a big lesson for all of you to listen to. I said so my one manager came up, and I said to him, come here. What? These people, holy shit. I said, what do they think about what we're driving? You know what he said? Changed my life. He said, they think because you keep driving that, they wonder if the company is never really doing that good and could have a problem someday, because otherwise, why wouldn't you have better vehicles as owners?
Wow.
So me and my partners turned around. We said, oh, shit. Okay. How much is in the budget? So my one partner bought a Mercedes 5 or something, series Mercedes. My other partner bought a decked out BMW. I think we had to put a budget of about $1,500 a month. We said, oh, fuck it. We'll show you. We're doing just fine. And then I bought a big ass black Hummer. And, but it's interesting the perspective that people have, right? The unspoken things that they are saying in a culture is just incredible.
Yeah, that's funny you say, because I had a client who actually told me that they don't want to drive a nice vehicle. They were the owner of the business. They were like, because I'm afraid my employees are going to ask me for raises. I'm like, you own the business. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, obviously, like you've owned this business for 40 years. Like you shouldn't have to worry about that, and that they had the opposite fear that that you were talking about.
Well, when I bought the gold medal building, we were in a house with like a extended garage on this thing. I tell people, if you want to know how tight it was, somebody's office was in the bathroom, and if someone had to take a crap, the guy had to get out of the bathroom. I mean, we were I worked with my business partner on a 6-foot table. He was on the other side of the 6-foot table. Everybody today, they need a 40-foot room for themselves. It's ridiculous. And we bought this building, and it was millions of dollars. And when you're a small company buying a building, man, you are taking it's burn the boats. right?
Yep.
It's burn the boats. And we bought it. And I'm thinking, we're never going to fill these. And I'll tell you what happened. Within 3 weeks of being in the building, not even all the furniture, everybody was lining up for raises. And I went, raises? Are you kidding me? Check off, lesson learned. I did not share to them how much on a string we were going for this building. So any of you ever do this and you're buying trucks, which everybody's got to have a Mercedes Benz today. You got to have a Sprinter. You know,
Yeah.
Old school, just so you know, most of us, we bent over when we got shit in the van, right? That's why we have, well, some of us are probably crippled, but that's why some of us are strong, because we bend over and stand up. Today, you got to dance around in your Sprinter van and stuff. It's hilarious. But even though I have a brand new Sprinter van that's really cool and jacked up and stuff now. But, you know, if you look at it, if you don't have that conversation with your team about the decisions you're making and really what it means, then they think the owner's always making $1 trillion, you know?
Yeah. Do you believe in that open book, you know, like you opening the books to your employees? What are your thoughts on that? I mean, maybe your top level employees or it's all your employees. What's your outlook on it?
I'm open book until you see my salary.
Yeah.
I believe the owner deserves to have an incredible life. And I mean, I had people when I was selling. Well, at one time I had employees. Our plumbers, $185,000 a year. I mean, come on. There's doctors. There's attorneys are making $85,000. My plumber's making 3 times these guys, right? And so we were open book on costs and expenses, but not on owners' salaries.
Yep.
And because, you know, first off, they never understand it.
No.
And any of owners that are listening there, man, not only am I rooting for you, I respect you, because you need to share with the employees what that really looks like. I told all my employees, the day you want to go in your own business, just come see me. I'm going to shut the door and I'm going to tell you everything to be ready for. I'll even tell you how to do it. I'll even tell you the hell you're going to live someday. And if you choose to still leave after that, I'm going to wish you luck and I'll support you. And most of them, after I give them the talk about, well, let me tell you about Sunday afternoon during the birthday party when the person called and was threatening to sue me. And then I had to get in a truck and drive. You know the deal, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The shit don't end up. You're in the movie theater with your kids eating popcorn and your phone's blowing up. You don't tell your wife, I'll wait till after the movie. You're like, kids, you're in Disney World. That shit don't stop. And, you know, so I believe people need to understand cost, expenses, and they need a leader, and you have to paint a vision, but you have to change their life along the way. I changed their life. And I'll tell you what, instead of open book, think about open life management. I would stand in front of my company, and I loved our all company meetings because, you know, AC/DC playing, they're banging tables, I'm throwing cash in there. I mean, it's like ethical Wolf of Wall Street. And I was a serving company, not a selling company. Selling companies end up on Channel 7 News in trouble. Serving companies, they end up on the news and being praised, right? And so, you know, I loved that whole momentum of sharing, but I was also like, hey guys, you ever have a middle of the night, your kid's thrown up at 2 a.m. in the morning? That was me last night. I shared all this stuff about my life. And I think so many people they're like, no, I keep it from my employees. And I'm like, the more you share your life, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the more they're going to want to be on the team with you, and you're going to be on the team with them. Yep. I mean, I had one of my employees one time, he's like, I'm going to go kill the guy at Home Depot. I'm like, why? He ordered carpet. He's like, they fucked up the carpet. It's all messed up. I'm going to kick the shit out of this guy. Hey, hang on. Give me the name of the guy. I called the guy up. I'm like, listen, you got to fix this thing. This is who I am. I care about this guy. And the guy's like, boom, no problem. Took care of it. Employee called me back. Thank you. I'm like, no problem. So like we did the things, and I'll share one more thing, Teddy. I think what makes it very different and what made us different in all the companies, especially with the service company, everybody I interviewed, I said, I'm not going to beg you with money. I'm not going to beg you with spiffs and bonuses. I'm going to share the type of company we are, and then you're going to be all in or all out. Here's the type of company we are. You have kids and you have a wife, and you're going to be on a job. And if they get a flat tire, you don't have to worry about anything. You tell me, We will go protect them, defend them, get them to a safe place. We will take care of their car. We will fix the tire. Your family has a problem at home. Smoke detector goes off, anything. Someone's knocking on your wife's door and she's nervous. You just text me. I will come swinging for you, man. I'll
That's
ask
awesome.
questions later. And when you explain that type of culture, that guy goes, I never worked for anybody that cared like this. And we did. We did.
Wow.
If they lost power, I'll put them up in hotel rooms. I treated their family as it's my family. You're in pain and suffering. I'm a solution. Call me in. And they did a lot. And we saved marriages that way. We helped people that, in the blue collar space, man, addiction is,
Oh yeah,
it's rampant.
Yep.
Drug addiction. Every type of pills, everything. And my job was to, how could I change this? How could I change this in my own company? And my own daughter, battled with some of this stuff. How do I change the world with this? And it starts with you got to change it for your own employees,
No, I think that's really awesome. And, I feel the same way. I mean, I had hired somebody who was an admin girl and she was a single mother. She had 5 children on her own. And I just would, whatever she needed. I mean, the kids would come to the office. We would put them in the office if they had half a day of school or something. Whatever we can do to help her out. She was an amazing employee. And I felt the same way about my employees. I would run through hell for them. And, I think that's it's the way it's got to be, because I've also coached other, entrepreneurs that they don't think like that. It's like they look at their employees. It's like, oh, they're just here, for me, but, and it's like not the right mindset at all for sure,
Yeah, and look, the way you, and I know this might not be rocket science to some, but it might be exactly what some people need to hear. The way that culture is. Now, I didn't have an office in my building. Matter of fact, I gave it up, and because I felt like when I kept going to a square box, it forced me to, like, what was I doing in that office? And when you're in an office, you don't see everything that's happening. Yeah. And I think when you're working in a culture like this, you want to show them you're as real. I still today. I mean, first off, when I'm riding, me and my wife ride our bicycle down the shore down here. I see people on Saturday or Sunday working. I'm like, yep, hell yeah, good job, And if I'm doing something and I see somebody struggling, I'm in. I'm not too good to grab even though my hands are so fucking ridiculous soft now. It's really pathetic. They used to be so like,
well, of course, yeah.
And they're so pathetic soft now. But I'll callous them up, man. If there's a hole digging, I'm not going to watch anybody struggle. And I think that's part of just living today. Is I don't fear the grind. I still think I don't outwork. I outlove what I do more than most people. Sunday to me, I could be barbecuing and recording a video and helping somebody.
Yep.
Because what else is there?
Yeah. No, 100%. I'm the same way. It's 24/7, like you said, when you're an entrepreneur. I mean, you can't really turn it off, and you have to learn. And I want to touch on this a little bit about how you work with your clients with family and improving their family life, right? Because a lot of entrepreneurs suffer with this. And I actually was a victim of this myself. I mean, for the first 10 years, I wasn't a part of my kids' lives. I was literally round the clock working, 6 a.m. I'd leave, I'd come home 7:00 at night. I'd see my kids for an hour and then boom, right on the next day. And then I would do that every single week. And I'd spend some time with them on the weekends, but it was very limited, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs go through that, especially in the beginning, and they don't know. They think that's what it takes to make it. And, I even had a partner who was very old school, and he would literally, we had a junior partner and he was a younger guy. He's in his 30s, and he's like, you need to work every Saturday. If you don't work Saturdays, you're not a hard worker. You're not a true entrepreneur. That's how I did it. I'm like, listen, bud, I'm like, that's not the only way. I'm like, he's got a kid, he's got a baby. Like, he doesn't have to do that. Like, and I learned over time that's not a way. Yeah. I mean, it's great to have that work mentality, but you have to have that balance too, right? So you touch on how you work with your clients on that and how that works.
Yeah. Well, I go back to what I was saying a little while ago. I think people try to really isolate their family from things. I mean, my son used to come at 8 years old and sit while I had meetings with 12 people in suits at our company. And then my son's pretty intense, even at 8 years old. They would all leave. I'd say, what will you do? He'd say, I'd fire them all, Oh my God. He's still intense like that. And I think what you look at is the integration of it together instead of the separation. You know, I used to do home shows. My kids were there doing it with me. They made the bags and packets, you know.
That's cool.
I
Yeah.
would go look at a job, get myself. But my dad was a mason and he worked for the union, but he did what they called lump jobs. He had his own business on the side. And you know, at 8 years old, he would say, jump in the dump truck with me. We're gonna go look at a job together. And back then it was old school, which I always brought old school into new school. He used to pull into back then, Krausers was a big thing in New Jersey.
Yep.
Walnut or coffee cake, a bunch of coffees. And I would say, Dad, we know these people. He goes, no, but all business happens over coffee and cake, right?
Yep.
And he could sell anybody anything. And we used to bring that into our culture. If you ask, I'll share about that. And I think it's like, you know, my kids, when we would drive, I would say, what do you think about that sign on the building? What do you think about the marketing? Yep. You know, and then at dinner, we would talk about my day, their day. And my wife's been incredible. She used to bring them when I'd be working on a job in the snow and bring grilled cheese and soup. And I would sit on a house we're wiring and walk my son through it or my daughter through it. And now if you met my kids, I mean, they could communicate in a way that most people can't. So I think for a lot of people is integrate it, don't separate it.
Yep.
And, you know, my dad did that good, I just think, because he didn't know any better. I don't think he chose to do it. He was just a real strong working Italian guy. But I did it intentional. And I feel if you do that, you're not I didn't hear my kids say you're missing things. Yep. They said it's integrated into our whole life. And that always made it special because, you know, you go to the beach, they remember a little moment. They go to a job with you, man, they remember that for a lifetime. And it's funny because I just, I have a company months ago, I helped my son move. And of course my son's moving and he's like, Dad, I got it. I'm like, no. Papa Bear's going to come in here. You're moving. We're going to do this thing. And we, you know, I got a big 20-foot truck and this guy says, you know, you have all that money. Why don't you buy somebody? Why don't you just hire people to move in? I said, you know how much magical moments I would miss with my son. First off, he's 26. You know what? He should pick up some boxes. He should learn how to stack it in there. Yep. He should carry the gun safe down the steps with me. Yep. And he's going to remember that, you know? And I said, yeah, of course I could go buy a moving company. Yep. But how is my son going to learn the skills that I learned? And he came back to me later and he's like, you know what? I'm not missing magical moments like that no more. And then my son and I, we have fun and we goof around, we load the truck up. And yeah, of course, you know, I look at it as training today. And I don't know, I'm beating my clock by 12 years. My metabolic age is 43 and I'm level 55. I mean, I'm still fit and strong. But I think when you look at that, how many, you know, when we were getting a swing set, my kids were little, you know, I told my kid, grab a shovel, man. Now I did have people come and put the big one together, but I said, grab a shovel. We're going to dig up the old one. We're going to chop it apart ourselves. And I got my daughter 6 or 7 years old in little rubber galoshes with a shovel. Yep. So if you live your life like that, it's integration, man. Nobody's missing anything.
Yeah. No, I love that.
Life skill sets. The school ain't teaching them.
No, hell no. Hell no. Yeah, no, they're not teaching that for sure. And I had a very similar upbringing as well. I mean, I'm third generation. I was on dump trucks with my grandfather, you know, delivering topsoil. And then with my father, you know, pulling oil tanks. And, you know, he would drop me off at the job site, tell the foreman to watch me, you know, and a little half shovel. I was there, you know, shoveling away. And that's, you know, that's kind of how I was, you know, brought up. And it was the best memories. I mean, it taught me work ethic. I got to look up to these older guys doing it. I'm like, oh, okay, this is how you're supposed to do it, you know? So I thought that was a great way to be brought up. And yeah, I mean, that's great advice. You know, one last topic I'd like to maybe discuss before we end it here and we cut it short before the hour. I'd like to just discuss. So after an exit, when you're coaching clients and you said that you help them with wealth management too, right? So I think that becomes sometimes an issue. If you come into some money that you never had before, right? You come into 5, 10, 15, $20 million. Now what, right? Because most of us we're entrepreneurs, we're grinders, we're electricians, we're plumbers, we're whatever. And then, but like now we have to like manage this lump sum of money. Like, so what, like, how do you help your clients with that and coaching them through that process and finding out, like you said, like who are the right people? Like you said, you went through a lot of different financial advisors because like you don't really know. Do I just give it to this guy and let him do what he wants? Like, so let's end it on that. Let's talk about that and how you help your clients in that area.
Let me vomit some critical information, everybody, right now. Okay, so everybody grab a pen, paper, buckle down for this. Let me give you some pieces pre-exit stuff. First thing, I'm going to give you a magic piece, everybody. If you ever think you're going to exit a company or not, there's a thing called the pitch book. That's what they're going to go to market with someday. Build it today. Yep. I don't care if you're a $1 million company. Build a pitch book today, add to it over time. It's going to make you smarter. Number two, I'm going to give you the dream team you have to have. And if anybody wants to reach out to me or Teddy, you want connections, I'll make it. Everybody scaling any business, I don't care if it's just starting out or going, you need a couple components. One, you need a damn attorney because people, okay, beep everything out, I curse, but there's always somebody who wants to fuck with you. And you need an attorney that knows how to protect you. So one, a good attorney, and this is going to help you along the way. You need a general attorney to help with I actually hired an attorney, Teddy. I lost a lawsuit. This customer had a little bit of mold in their attic about this big. And the woman told me, I got emphysema and all this stuff.
God.
I want a new house. And I told her, I'm not buying a new house. Long story short, I should have bought her a new house.
Oh,
$175,000. And it was pathetic, this lawsuit. And it's never a good time for a lawsuit. Yep. And the attorney that fought that did such a good job. I said, I want you to come work for me. I'll find other things for you to. He's like, how many people are suing him? Not that many, thank God. Yeah. But I'm going to find other things to do because the thing I learned is nobody messes with a company that has an attorney on the payroll. But some of you can't do that yet, so you need a connection. Number two, you need a CPA that owns other businesses. If you're with a CPA that just does some bookkeeping and basic stuff, and once a quarter you meet with them and they tell you to pay this money, get away from them fast. You need a CPA, and the smallest companies can afford this today. They call it a fractional CFO.
Yep, 100%.
Which means you don't have to pay for a CFO in your company. You could have this person do it. Anybody who wants a connection, I got a great one. I'm going to give you the ones that been in my world for over a decade. The next thing that you're going to need, and you need it sooner than later, is people try to hire a broker that's going to sell their company when they're ready to sell. You're 500 steps too late. If you think you might sell someday, I don't care if you're $1 million, 1,500,000, get a broker, sit with them and say, okay, here's what my company is. Tell me what I need to look like, be like, and have in place for someday, if I want to or not, sell the company. And let the broker tell you today, because you know what? They're going to keep in touch with you along the way. And you never know when the right deal comes forward, right? And the most dangerous thing any of you ever could say, and write this down, let it embed in your skin. If anybody ever says, hey, you're thinking about selling your company, your only answer is this: I'm having too much fun right now. Because if you say yes, for the right price, the guy at the supply house hears about that. Your employees hear it. They want to quit because they heard you're selling. And it's worse now than ever. So if anybody asks you, are you selling? You say, nope, I love it. And then you could strategically plan. The next thing you do is you don't get a financial advisor when you have a lot of money. You get one when you have no money. So he could help you make decisions to get to a lot of money. I don't care if you have $5,000 in your bank account. You get a financial advisor that looks and says, okay, you pay rent on a pay, or you own a home and you have a mortgage, or you have financial advisors. Now, I'm not talking about these salesy car salesmen when they, let me give you a diversified portfolio. I'm like, no. Actually, the last one I hired, which is great if anybody wants a connection, I told them the worst thing you could tell me is diversified portfolio, 30%. That you say those words, we're done. I don't want to hear it. You need someone who understands how you are. I'm a little bit of a different one, man. I believe we're already living on other planets. Like I believe there's alien race and shit. Like I'm a weird one out there. People there, and most people that are weird, they're afraid to say they're weird. I'm okay with it. I believe in a lot of things, and so you need that in place, okay? And every one of you have wealth. You do. You do. I hear people tell me, "Oh, I have no wealth." What? You got a $500,000 home. You only owe 100,000 of it, and you're acting like you have no money at all, but you have equity in that home.
Yep.
So the first step to wealth is to identify the wealth you have today. If you have kids that are healthy, alive, you already have some tangible love wealth there. If you have a house, a car, tools. I just did an on-site, and I could relate to this on-site because I had a big building with lots of stuff in it. And there's more money in the cracks of buildings than you can imagine. Like a roll of wire today.
Yep.
I mean, everything's expensive today. And if you could just look around and say, I just even look in this room, I got a laptop, I got a tablet, I got a fucking TV there, I got a camera here. Like there's $6,000 sitting in front of me, but people act like they don't. So learn that ahead of time and then plan for that. That's why people, Teddy, they say, "Oh, I don't know, should I buy or lease a truck?" I'm like, what does your tax advisor say? What does your accountant say? Yep. They should be looking at your numbers saying, okay, yeah, lease it. Oh, no, you should buy it. And we're managing cash flow until you do choose to either exit or something. And so many people, if they're not going to sell a company, Teddy, well, showing lots of profit and paying to Uncle Sam a ton of money, and you're not going for an exit anytime soon. What are you doing there? What are you doing? You're paying Uncle Sam money. Like they're just so all of you listening, there is a formula and a theory of when you show profit, when you shouldn't, based on timelines. And most people, I'll give you a quick story. I know we're coming up against the hour. I put in, because I had a lot of, I had 25% of my employees were veterans at Gold Medal. And so I wanted to put in a big flag, 100. And so if you ever drove down the turnpike, that flagpole's 120 foot high.
Wow.
Which the township said I couldn't do it. They said I could only put a 20-foot one. And then I told them I'm gonna go to the American Legion and tell them they're anti-American, which there's always a strategy, isn't there?
Yep,
There's always a strategy. So they settled at 20-foot flagpole with a big flag on it. Now I was telling my accountant, he's like, "What's going on?" I said, "Oh, I'm putting a flagpole." He goes, "Do you know there was something in the tax thing when you do something American flag or something, you could claim, I think, 50 or 70% of that."
Wow.
I had no idea about that.
Yeah.
A regular CPA has no idea about that.
No.
A strategist CPA, he does know about that. So a lot of people are throwing so much money away, which makes it hard to build a company. So I would tell all of you, your answer about wealth is start today, everybody. Start today and watch who you listen to, because I had somebody sign me up for a, you got to do this. I think, is it a 501 plan or college fund or something?
Oh, forget about it. Yep.
And then I found out you can't use that thing for shit.
Nope.
I'm like, wait a minute. My kid's going to go study under the top leadership expert in the world. Oh, that's not approved. I'm like, I'm putting it in. Send me the check. I'm like, what are you kidding me? So watch who you listen to. It's best if you go to people that are already done it and wealthy. They've already suffered through all the struggling people that were bad. Get the referral of the good people. Have a one-on-one connection. And if I could serve you, Teddy, or anybody on here, just message me. If you message me on Facebook, it's me. It's not AI. It's not a robot. I love and care about you too much to push you off. It's not somebody in a third world country answering for me. I'll be honored to serve anybody that's listening to you and what you're doing in the world.
No, that's fire, man. That's awesome. And you gave a lot of value in this episode, and I'm really excited to have you on. And where can everybody contact you? What's the best? I mean, you said Facebook a couple times. Is that the biggest platform you let people reach out?
I'm gonna type in my name on Facebook. That's great. You could go to Food Dog Group, FUDOG Group.com. That's our website. We're redoing it, but you'll still get to me. But yeah, if you Facebook message me, you'll get to me. And also there's, if you look up Food Dog Group .com/events. You'll see I got tons of free stuff. So if anybody in your community just needs some free training, actually somebody reached out to me today. They're, oh, I'm in due diligence and I don't even know the person. I'm like, why haven't you reached out to me? He's like, well, how much would it cost for me to do it? I'm like, fucking nothing. I don't want you to make a mistake. I'll get on a call with anybody and help them with some insight, because you know what? And you know it, Teddy, because you did it yourself. That's why you're doing this. The more you give to the world, the universe gives back, and we keep changing the world together. So.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. That's awesome, Mike. Well, thanks again for coming on, and I look forward to staying in contact with you, and lots of luck with your new program, and look forward to keeping in contact with you for sure.
Same to you, man. Boom.
All right, take it easy.